All righty. Good morning. Welcome to OpenPOWER. Doors are closing. Wow, I got chills. I can't tell you how happy I am, the team are, to have all of you here. This is a big moment for our efforts for the industry. Yesterday, Jensen's keynote, he talked about a big bang for deep learning, and today's big bang for OpenPOWER. And about a year ago, I pitched an idea to the board of directors for Summit, and the entire OpenPOWER organization was this many people-ish. And we did a trust fall, and here we are. Thank you for coming. 1 year. We have, I think, an amazing show for you, but really we're talking about a vision for the industry, a vision for what people can do when they come together as volunteers. This is a volunteer organization, and how we're going to disrupt the industry and rethink the data center. So thank you for coming. I have to start with thank yous. You know, pulling off an event like this and building an org from scratch with volunteers is not easy. And the way you get it going is you start with a vision, people sign up, you employ passion, and you see what happens, and I think we're on a pretty good track right here. So I want to thank the board of directors, thank our speakers from around the world, our members, press and analysts for coming, and all of you for coming, and all the people contributing. And this should be just the beginning of what should be a very successful movement for the industry. Also, where's Michelle Hunt? Thank you, Michelle Hunt, Executive Director for OpenPOWER. Thank you. Keep the train going. So we have a ton of stuff coming for today. OpenPOWER Pavilion was open yesterday. If you were there, you saw some previews of what we're doing. Today is jam-packed. We start today in this room with keynote presentations and reveals from 9 to 11. Then you do a break so you can go to the NVIDIA keynote and have lunch. Come back at 1:30. We're going to have a train of presentations from our members until about 6 o'clock. And then please come join us in the pavilion area for more Ice Luge martinis, double the size. Drinking is recommended. We also have our pavilion, which will be on for today, pavilion showcase hours today and tomorrow. The reveal that we have here will be restaged there, so for press, after the reveal, please take whatever pictures you want. Where's Christian? Can you stand up? Everyone side of Christian for press and analysts. She will take care of you. After the summit presentations today, at 12:15 in the VIP room, there's a press Q&A. So if you're not sure where to go, she can help you to find that. So please come join us there. Tomorrow we have an ISV roundtable and firmware training labs. The firmware training labs will be in the pavilion area. That'll be restaged, so you can, if you're an engineer and you want to come check out OpenPOWER firmware, we have 2 labs. And then we also have an ISV roundtable led by Canonical. Randall, you want to stand up? So that will be in this room. So if you want to hang out with ISVs, there'll be more mini presentations, sort of a review of learnings from the industry, and please come join us tomorrow as well. Okay, so this is a movement of public trust. So please hashtag us. Share with your friends. We want to keep growing. We want to keep investing. And so our hashtag for the show is OpenPOWER Summit. So please take your pictures here in the room, in the show floor, share it with your LinkedIns and your Twitter feeds, etc., and enjoy the show. Thank you for coming. Please join me in welcoming Gordon MacKean from Google, Chairman of OpenPOWER Foundation.
That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane, and Lenny Bruce is not afraid.
Thank you very much, Michael, for the introduction. I want to actually also extend a thank you to NVIDIA for sharing this venue with us, allowing OpenPOWER to be here with GTC at the same time is amazing. It's really turning out to be a great show. And so Michael deserves special thanks. He was a driving force behind this. As he said, he had help from Michelle and the IEEE ISTO team, but it really was a big thank you. Michael deserves a big thank you for helping pull this together. Yesterday, watching what was happening in the pavilion was truly amazing. The crowd that was drawn there was fantastic. So I hope everyone's enjoying the show. I do want to say thank you to all of you for coming out here for the show and taking time out of your busy days. Hopefully you walk away from this learning something new about OpenPOWER. We're excited about what we've done in the first year. And actually, that's what I'm here to talk about. It's time for us to look back at the year and actually recap what we've done, how we've performed against what we wanted to do, and really do a self-assessment. This is our report card. So that's what I'm hoping to do here. To actually set the stage for that, I think we need to actually look at what it was, and now the significance of the song that came on. What was it that we set out to do at the beginning of this? Well, we had a number of companies get together, and they were talking, this conversation about the end of Moore's Law has been going on in the industry for quite a while. And actually, I don't think that's really the right question to be talking about. It's really about the cost performance benefits of servers. And I think what's happened is Moore's Law has been used as a proxy for the value of these servers. And if you really look at the cost performance trends over time, when I talk to the different members of the OpenPOWER Foundation and people outside of the community, what I'm hearing is that there's been a deceleration there in the value of those servers. And so I can see nodding heads from our friends at Rackspace, and so I think it's clear that this is something that's resonating with people. It's actually the rate of that value add from the generational improvements just isn't tracking Moore's Law the way that we used to. So it's really not about whether Moore's Law is alive or not. It's just, are we seeing that value? So how did we want to tackle that? We actually thought that, well, we looked around and we saw that Open Compute is actually looking at driving forward on the cost efficiencies, actually coming up with a common set of infrastructure, common design goals to actually make more efficient design wins to really drive on the cost side of the equation. OpenPOWER members were talking about, well, how can we actually make a difference? Well, it's actually attacking the performance side of that equation. So what we're looking at is actually pulling together the I/O subsystems, the memory subsystems, and more tightly coupling them with the processor itself. And that's what we thought was actually going to affect the denominator in that cost performance equation. So to really maximize on that, we needed a cross-section of industry technology leaders, pulling in memory, pulling in the I/O subsystems, networking, acceleration, pulling all of these subsystems together, and tighter coupling with the processor was the way we were going to achieve this. And then lastly, we needed a processor to actually work with. And having somebody that would actually open up their roadmap, open up the interfaces, and be willing to work with all of these industry leaders in a very open and collaborative way was really necessary for this to take place. And IBM was ready and willing to do that. So that's really what we set out to do, and it translated into a vision statement that was pretty straightforward, and that was actually, we wanted to create that open development community dedicated to transforming the approach to scale out and hyperscale server design, and really base it around the power architecture. So that was the original vision. So how have we tracked to this? Well, it's rethink the data center. It starts with really our membership. As I said, what we wanted to do was create that open community, cross-section of all of the technology leaders to help work on those performance bottlenecks at the system level. We started with 5 members when we founded the organization. I like to tell people that we really started a year ago when we had our first public event in San Francisco in last April, had 26 members at that time. Not quite a year later, we're sitting here with very close to 100 more members. We're actually at 113. I haven't checked this morning, but maybe it's more. So we actually feel like we're bringing on membership at a really, really good rate. Now this slide, and I promise it's the last time I'm going to show this slide, because it's getting way too crowded, And it has way too many names in it. But it is significant in that what it does is it shows off that we've got all of the layers of the ecosystem, from chips all the way up to the end users, represented fairly evenly, actually, with our cross-section of members. And this is important. Why is the membership critical to us? Well, it's that diversity in the membership that gives us the technical strengths that we can actually leverage to attack those performance bottlenecks. With a large membership, what we actually have is the numbers to actually make progress in all of these areas and basically fill out the ecosystem as fast as we can. So the last bullet is just saying that we really feel like we're making good progress and we're able to actually demonstrate that we are doing well in this space. So I'm going to have a fairly hardware-centric view on this. It's not to say that the OpenPOWER Foundation isn't making progress in all areas, but this is going to be fairly hardware-focused because that's kind of the foundation of what we're talking about in terms of the value proposition for these servers, the cost-performance proposition. So middle of 2013, IBM actually unveiled the Power 8 architecture and started to make it available to a few companies. There were 2 planers revealed at the April Summit, the first public event. Sorry, Summit, the first public event in San Francisco. And the 2 planers were showcased were Taiwan and Google. Through the course of last year, we actually brought out the reference platform from Taiwan, and Mellanox introduced the first NIC that was CAPI enabled. And Nalitech actually brought out an accelerator card, also CAPI ready. So these are actually the 2014 hardware reveals that we have already heard about. So how are we doing since then? Well, now we've got new chips and components rolling out. There's IBM working with Altera. I'm just going to say a few words about sort of the context for each of these things. We've got IBM and Altera have a memory development board for advanced memory technologies, attaches directly into the processor subsystem through its memory interface. Xilinx and Convey have actually done yet another, sorry, I want to be careful not to say it in a bad way, yet another accelerator card. This is actually a good thing. Having multiple vendors in this space shows how diverse and how broad our ecosystem, or our membership is, and how that's helping out the community. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll hear a bit more about this through the summit, is the IBM and PowerCore working on the first custom product chip, Power 8, that's first customization of the Power 8 architecture. Fairly significant news there. Now, rolling out more systems, as I mentioned earlier, we've got our friends from Open Computer going to be represented by Rackspace here with a Power 8 variant. Their planer is it's in progress right now, and they've got a mechanical outline of it here. We've got Cirruscale working with NVIDIA to do the first developer system for GPUs. And in the bottom left-hand corner, you actually have the Wistron, again, with NVIDIA working on the first commercial hyperscale platform. HPC platform. Rolling out more systems. We've got, in the top left, we've got the first commercial platform from a third party, the Habanero system from Taiwan. Zoom and Biosoft, this is actually a platform, the planer in the top right is actually the first server that's directed towards the Chinese local market. Bottom left, I get to say it again and be proud, yet another 2-socket 4U server from Inspur. In this case, yet another is a good thing to be. It actually shows that breadth of the ecosystem and membership. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got Taiwan and Chonger have actually teamed together to create what is actually the first system directed towards the telco vertical. So, bringing it all together, though, I talked about us actually wanting to address the system performance bottlenecks and actually integrating the I/O systems, the memory subsystems, closer with the processor to actually have an impact on performance. And so we've got a couple of examples. You can see different ones out on the pavilion floor, out on the show floor. But what we have here is just highlighting one that came out with Redis, working with Altera, Nalatech, to really come up with, this was a NoSQL database where we're actually trying to reduce the latency of the system to create a database that actually has memory-like access using more cost-effective memory technologies. So this was a great example, and there's more information available when you talk to the people out on the floor. But again, this is now where members are working with technology from members to actually create that higher performance system. And then there's another example, very similar to this, but actually now getting to the point where we're able to show that we're having an impact at the business level. There's actually a company here, AlgoLogic, that actually has an order book system. Again, using a lot of the technology that we're talking about, a CAPI-enabled accelerator card from Altera that actually is, again, integrated well with the processor subsystem and its memory, host memory system. And through this and over CAPI, we're able to actually get a order book system that has extremely low latency and virtually no jitter, which is really critical in high frequency trading. And so they're really proud of this product. I think it works really well from what they're reporting, and you can go out on the showroom floor and actually see this. So coming back to what I said we were going to do was kind of do a report card on how we've done in our first year. So do we think we actually have started to move the needle with respect to addressing the system performance bottlenecks, actually affecting the performance part of the cost performance equation? Hell yeah, I think we have. So we should be proud of that. Do we have more to do? Areas for improvement? Is there work left to be done? Damn straight. I think we do. But we've got a great membership. It's growing still. And we're all working towards that same goal of actually affecting the value of that server. And so I'm confident that the next year is going to be really exciting. Now, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, I think real hardware's worth 1,000 pictures. I'd like to get Brad up here, and we're going to actually show that we've got real hardware here. So I'm sorry. You're going to have to look at my back for a moment.
All right.
Oh, don't drag. And it keeps going and going.
There.
So
There it all is.
again, a fairly significant array of hardware, a lot of software. You can talk to people out on the pavilion floor about it. It's pretty significant what we've got up here, and it'll be out on display later on. But this is sort of the result of the first year of effort, all coming together. And again, I'd like to say thank you, and what I'd like to do now is hand it over to Brad McCredie, who's going to say a few more words about the foundation.
All right. Thanks, Gordon.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Just great to be here. You know, I was thinking about this. You could possibly look at this and say, hey, you know, it's 15 pieces of hardware. But this is 15 pieces of hardware that was done in less than a year. I can tell you, you know, I have worked with most of the companies that have put this together. And a year ago, with the exception of one or two of these pieces, none of this was started. It's an incredible amount of productivity in a very short amount of time. You know, and I was thinking, right before I left, I was sitting down with my team and I was going over all of the projects that we have going with OpenPOWER at IBM, with our OpenPOWER partners. And it sums up close to 100. So we're going to need a really big table next year when we come out here. But there's a lot left to come. And really looking forward to sharing that next year when we get back together again. Before we get started, I need to add my thanks. I want to thank all of you for coming. Thank the OpenPOWER board members here. Thank our more than 100 plus foundation members here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Callista Redmond. Callista's been with me since we started this foundation, and I don't think there would be a foundation without her. She's done a lot. And of course, Michael, add my thanks. It's just a great party you're throwing here. The Martini Luge is excellent. Really good stuff. And I also want to thank my wife. My wife's here today, and that's kind of special, so glad you're here. I I got a few prepared remarks. I want to share these prepared remarks with you. And then after I go through that, we'll have a little fun. I got my top 10 list. We'll do a little David Letterman intro there too. So let's go with the prepared remarks first. So to start with, I like to think of us as pioneers here at the OpenPOWER Foundation who are exploring and discovering new pathways in a journey to an exciting new era of IT. It isn't often that a group of people can say with confidence that they stand in an important moment in history. This is such a moment. We are making history. I firmly believe that the OpenPOWER Foundation and the announcements we have today from our members will reinvent the data center because these announcements represent much more than just technology advances in performance and cost. Advances that could not exist without the distinct capabilities and expertise of our more than 100 partners. These announcements also represent a new business model. A business model built on a foundation of a large ecosystem that drives innovations and shares the profits from those innovations. We are at a point in time where our business model innovation is just as important as to our industry as technology innovation. Let me do that one again. I want to get it right. We are at a point in time where business model innovation is just as important to our industry as technology innovation. You don't have to look any further than our chairman's company, Google, to see an example of what I mean. While the technology that Google creates and uses is most certainly leadership in our industry, Google would not even be a shadow of the company it is today without its extremely innovative business model. Google gives away all of their advanced technology to each of us for free and monetizes it through other means. In fact, if you think about it, most all of the fastest growing new companies in our industry are built still on innovative technology ideas, but the most successful ones all are leveraging business model innovations as well. However, OpenPOWER is not just a new way of doing business. It's an innovative solution to a problem many of us thought we might never face: the erosion of the once immutable Moore's Law. The basic physics and technology scaling modeled by Moore's Law have not been with us for some time. Nonetheless, the cost performance advancement and computational growth rates that Moore's Law delivered are still very much needed. As a result, sole reliance on the tick-tock approach to microprocessor development is no longer viable. It is not close to keeping pace with the surging demands being placed on today's infrastructure. The early successes of the OpenPOWER approach confirm what we all know. To expedite innovation, we must move beyond a processor technology-centric design point and design ecosystem to an ecosystem that takes into account system bottlenecks, system softwares, and most importantly, the benefits of an open collaborative ecosystem. This is about how organizations, companies, and even countries can address disruptions and technology shifts to create fundamentally new competitive approach. No one company alone can spark the magnitude or diversity, the type of innovation we are going to need for the growing hyperscale data centers, or what I think of as the next generation of warehouse scale computing. In short, we must collaborate not only to survive, we must collaborate to innovate, differentiate, and thrive. It is clear, just as the Apollo moon landings of the 70s changed our perception of what was possible in outer space, OpenPOWER has the potential to defy the gravity of outmoded conventions and be the rocket we ride into a new era of computer technology. Up until now, in warehouse-scale data centers, one size had to fit all, namely servers running x86 processors. But with computer companies and cloud service operators now able to license, modify, power technologies, you are no longer limited to using off-the-shelf components controlled by a single company. Today, the limits of x86 architecture are profound. Exclusive reliance on the x86 architecture is constraining companies, industry, and countries that need and desire to unleash their full potential. The OpenPOWER Foundation is breaking the locks and opening the doors to the future. Whoops. That's the end of the prepared remarks. And I dropped my short notes right at the end of that. Sorry. That's all right. So we go on here. So I want to, in honor of David Letterman, who is the late night television host, he always makes a top 10 list. And the first few times I have done some prepared speeches, I did some top 10 lists. So I thought I'd make a top 10 list here. Top 10 reasons why the OpenPOWER Foundation will transform the data center. So we got to go through this here a little bit. So here's the first one. You get to meet lots of new friends and make lots of new people. So it's a good one. Yeah. So you saw it from Gordon. We have all sorts of people in our ecosystem. We got everybody from the chip guys out through the national labs. Our national labs are here today. Universities working on the most important problems of tomorrow. And one of the better kept secrets in the nice people category. My mom's actually a member of OpenPOWER too, so it's good. She's really nice. Okay, t-shirt and shorts, suit and tie, you blend. OpenPOWER technology can go anywhere. We're in the mission critical data centers on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast, warehouse scale data centers. Our technology can go anywhere. You can go there. You don't need a rich uncle. In the OpenPOWER ecosystem, it's what your team can do, how innovative your thoughts are. It's not who you know. In open ecosystems, it's the code that does the talking. All right. Oh, this one was from Gordon. We had to do a shout out to Spock. You can live long and prosper in the OpenPOWER ecosystem. It's a big ecosystem. It's a healthy ecosystem, and we share the profits. Our partners will get to prosper. Number 6, you can build on your own lot. With OpenPOWER, you can control your supply chain. In OpenPOWER, you get to manufacture the chips if you want to manufacture chips. You want to buy chips from one of the ecosystem partners, manufacture a system, you can do that. You can even set up a distro for your own software. So OpenPOWER, you get to control your own supply chain. If it feels good, do it. Absolutely. We like to do that in OpenPOWER. But more likely, even than that, if you can customize your solution, it's yours to customize. So whatever you want to do, if you want to customize your chips, you want to customize your planer, we let everybody do that. Dancing with the stars. OpenPOWER can create new ecosystems. We'll give you the IP, then you can do a classic 2-step. You take that IP, you can create your own indigenous innovation, you can create your own innovation for your business. Seeing is believing. This is an important point. Open ecosystems are truly secure ecosystems because it's really not secure unless you can see the source code. And with the OpenPOWER ecosystem, everything's open so you can see the source code. It may soon be the real definition of security is an open ecosystem. Bigger is better. We have good technology in OpenPOWER. We got the biggest GPUs, we got the biggest FPGAs, we got the biggest processors, we got good stuff. Our processors have more threads than everybody else's processors. Our processors more memory bandwidth. We got good technology. Bigger is better. And then finally, if you're not open, you're not moving. This is the path to fast innovation. This is how we're going to innovate quickly, and this is how we're going to move the technology forward. This open innovation will accelerate the pace of our technology. It will accelerate the pace of our industry. So here you go. That's our top 10 list for today from the home office in Omaha. Here we go. So I think we got all the words up there. Okay. So let's wrap it up here. Going to flip a few pages. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here you go. This list isn't exhaustive. I am sure that you can all add to it. That it's easy. This is why this is about open. You can change it and you can improve it. But the most important thing of all is I believe it's about how we capture the incredible expertise and insight of our members. Make OpenPOWER the platform for global business. Together, we are onto something big. We are making history. In fact, the rapid pace of change in the industry, I predict it won't be long before open innovation becomes the only route to innovation. No other means of innovation will be able to keep up. As I said earlier, we must collaborate to innovate. I started out by saying that I think we're pioneers. I do think we're pioneers. I think we're pioneers changing the future of IT. You know, it was about the time that I wrote that we were pioneers. Aaron from Rackspace was doing his Open Compute presentation. He sent me a text message, said, we're a bunch of dweeby visionaries getting ready to change the future. So whether it's pioneers or dweeby visionaries, either one, if you've joined us, great. I welcome you. Thanks for joining us. For those of you who haven't joined us yet, come be a dweeby visionary with us. Come be a pioneer. We've thrown open the door to the future. I welcome you all to join us. Let's walk through it together. The possibilities are limitless. Thank you very much.